How's it going, Andrew?
What's up, Matt?
Not much. I was out at Waukesha 37's Festival of Meat Table Lodge last night.
Before we started the mics, Matt said, and I quote, "This is one of those events you shouldn't miss because it's amazing." So tell me some more about this bad boy.
Dude, okay. First of all, those guys out at Waukesha 37, every time I've gone to one of their events, their hospitality is amazing. Their fellowship's amazing. Just have a great time with those guys. And so I showed up a little bit early yesterday because I knew they were going to be doing some cooking and I just wanted some extra hang time. So I was like, I'm going to get there, see what this is all about. And it did not disappoint when I walked up to the back of their building and there was 2 spits over a bed of coal with just meat on them. And that wasn't even all the meat. I mean, we're talking there's pork, there's brisket, there's venison, there is actually some lake trout too, there's chicken. It was a
What a good idea.
Yeah, it's an excellent idea. And it's casual, so, jeans and a t-shirt. It's not a formal table lodge. It's really laid back, have a really good time. And they've always had the goal, this has been going on for like 11 years now. They've always wanted to try to make it to 37 ceremonial toasts since they're lodge number 37. Now, obviously, if you're going to try to go that far, you have to do it responsibly and do some short pours and mix in some water and mix in some Gatorade, and not everyone can be wine and not everyone can be a full toasting can of wine because you're never going to make it and then you're just talking an unsafe situation. So everybody was really good about mixing in water every now and then or some Gatorade or taking just quarter pours.
Sippers.
There's some meat out there too, so that was delicious. And, they did it last night. 37
congratulations
toasts
to them.
It was pretty impressive. The only thing that filled me up more than all the delicious meats I ate was all the liquid. Because even if you're doing small ones and mixing in water and stuff, that's still a lot of liquid to intake.
Yeah, it's mixed in with your meat soup.
Right. But no, it was a great time. I really enjoyed myself. Those guys know how to do events like that right and really know how to show visiting brothers hospitality. So I would highly recommend that everybody keep an eye out for it next year and attend that event.
I'm going to have to go. I love meat. Don't soundbite me on that.
Well, you cut yourself off soon enough. You didn't add anything extra to it, so it's not as bad of a soundbite as it could have been.
Yeah, right. But yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I was sad. I had already made plans to go frisbee golfing with a buddy that he had set out a couple of months ago. So I went and played some frisbee golf, and I haven't played in like 2 years, so I was very rusty, but it was fun.
I've never played.
We went up to Tendick, which is a silly name, but it's also up in. I
just caught the name.
Yeah, it's up in like by Saukville, and it's like a beautiful course. It's also where I used to run cross country nationals. The state, I forget run state up there, and I've always liked. That's where I always PR'd in cross country, so I always liked that place. So I frisbee golfed it, and it was a good time. But I don't know if it sounds as good as a spick full of meat, a spigot to split. What's it called in it?
I don't know. Now you lost me. You confused me.
The thing
you
just
the fire. Broke my brain.
The thing on the
like
fire.
A rotisserie. You can just call it a rotisserie.
Yeah, a rotisserie.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
Yeah, that sounds pretty amazing. So
yeah, no, it was really good and highly, highly suggested.
Cool. Well, we do have a special guest joining us today to talk about the Conference of Principal Officers and the Wisconsin Conference of Principal Officers. It's an event that's his baby that he's been working on for the last couple of months getting set up. And I had mentioned a little bit in the last podcast episode about it to tease it, but we actually got the man himself on, Brother Adam Rigden, to speak on it. So let's hit the intro and introduce him.
Let's bring him on.
Loosen up your ties and roll up your sleeves. It's time for fellowship with Matt and Andrew. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are not necessarily the views and opinions of the Grand Lodge of Wisconsin or any other Grand Lodge or any appended body.
All right, so on today's episode, we have a very special guest for you. We have Worshipful Master, actually, because he's still currently sitting in the seat, Adam Rigden from Wautoma Lodge, to talk about a conference of wardens that he's putting together this fall. Thanks for coming on, Adam.
Yeah, no problem. I enjoy being here just like the last time. How are you guys doing today?
Good. We're excited about this event coming up, and I know I talked about it and teased it a little bit in the last episode based on some of the material you'd sent over, but we thought it'd be awesome to really let brethren know in Wisconsin what opportunity we have coming up and how this could be an awesome thing and will be an awesome thing. So what inspired you? Can you explain like the high level what the goals of the event is, and then what inspired you to create the event?
Well, as you know, I do a lot of Masonic traveling, and I kicked off my Masonic journey right after posting as a Master Mason. And the guys are like, hey, let's go visit this lodge, let's go visit that lodge. So we started doing that. And at that time, you're used to paying attention to early on, you're paying attention to the ritual and trying to remember the things and checking out the buildings and the furniture. But as you travel more and know more and get better at the ritual yourself, you start noticing other things, and this is outside of course, all the fellowship, which is a key component and all that. But then you start hearing, and when you truly listen and truly hear people, then you start to learn what they need and what they're wanting, whether they know it themselves or not sometimes. So, since COVID was complete and we were able to start revisiting lodges and traveling, what I really noticed is that most, I'm not saying all, but the vast majority of lodges don't really have like a strategic plan. So it's the what if we lose, 50% of our members due to attrition from, age, or they're just not engaged, there's no education in your lodge or whatever's happening, that you're losing these members. What do those due structures got to look like? And, what if you need a new roof? Or it's all the what ifs. So you got to be able to plan using a strategy to plan for these things, including membership loss or gain, and base your due structures and whatever, or bylaws, those types of things. I really noticed that there's no consistency in lodge strategy.
So the goal is trying to, Masonry isn't like a traditional business, but businesses have plans for these types of things. And so being a volunteer organization is a little bit different, but we need to, in some situations when it comes to the administrative structure of the lodge, have these types of plans in place, which can be challenging because the people within the leadership of the lodge changes. And so what's being passed down, how do we have a way to make sure that people are comfortable approaching these types of topics and prepared to start actually planning for the success of their lodges?
Well, the whole key there is, we're kind of following in the footsteps of, and I'm very proud of the Grand Lodge of Wisconsin for having a strategic plan. If you look on the website, wimasons.org, and you can, in the members area, you can find the GLOW. It's the Grand Lodge. I can't remember what the acronym stands for, but it's their strategic plan. And that makes things, yes, each Grandmaster can have his own thing that he wants to do, but in the overall big picture of things throughout time, that those programs that the Grandmaster does this year, next year, the year after, and the following year, and so on, it aligns with the strategic goals of the fraternity. So your lodge will have different goals. So you can't just copy and paste from their strategic plan. But the cool part about strategic planning, and Wautoma 148, we're in the very infancy of strategic planning, and I've had some experience doing this before with the Wisconsin Towns Association and the Wautoma Area School District as well when I was on the board there. But we're in the very infancy. We just have our refined mission and vision statement now. But going back to the conference, this brings all the principal officers, the worshipful master, who will soon be a past master, and then your senior warden, who's going to be the master, primarily speaking, unless something crazy happens, and the junior warden and become the senior warden. And all those gentlemen, they have to deal with the ins and outs of the lodge daily, even your first junior pathmaster. And these are the greatest guys to have, those committees, and along with other brethren who are willing to take the time to do strategic planning and getting everybody involved gets buy-in, because some of that was their idea, right? And maybe some of it wasn't, but then they kind of understand the viewpoint of this, and there's a lot of analyses you got to go through in order to come to conclusions. So this process doesn't happen in a couple of weeks or a couple of months. It's going to be, for us, at least a year or a year and a half to get this done properly.
So you have to create like a form of... So it's like, it's nice that it's all the principal officers because it creates a consistency when, we have we have a new leader every year, and if every leader is completely different on what the goals of the lodge are, it's chaos, right? Like there's the ship is not sailing because there's no destination in sight. It's just kind of going wherever it wants. And so it's nice to get consensus amongst the principal officers, so there's a form of consistency year to year, so the lodge can actually move in a direction instead of just sailing in circles.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see that all the time, right? You go to visit a lodge one year and they're doing all this one thing, and then the next year they're doing this thing, but then all that stuff got dropped. That doesn't lend well to our community programs, our youth programs, and even our brethren. Then they're confused of what's going on. We need to have, and it's okay to change programs, don't get me wrong, but if it aligns with the strategic policies of our plan, you don't change something that's successful in the first place, right? You're going to change something that's failing. And I have a really quick example of that. So last year when I was the senior warden, and a worshipful brother Danny Wolford was the master, and we had always done, it was always the second or third Saturday in October, we always did a pancake breakfast for the veterans. Free of charge, come on in, have breakfast on of course, COVID hit, and that hit it pretty hard, but even before that, we had maybe like 15 to 16 that would come in, and a couple of them were people that I invited, including my father. But that aside, the last year we had it, which was 2 years ago, there was 3. We had 3 veterans. So it was dying. And we used to do a thing, my family and I used to do a thing for the 4-H. It was a big spaghetti feast. So we had the recipe for this huge spaghetti thing, and garlic bread, like in the monkey bread style. So it was pretty easy to put together. So I offered that to a worshipful brother, Danny. Said, hey, let's do this like our second Monday meeting in November. It's real close to Veterans Day. Do it in the evening. Let's completely change it. But it's still following the goal of our lodge that we wanted something to do with the veterans program. And it turned out really well. Not only did I think we had like 70 people that showed up, veterans. But not only did we have a huge turnout, we also raised $400 just by a whim. We weren't even really collecting money to give, and we decided to give it to the honor flight, the Old Glory Honor Flight, which covers the Wautoma area. So that's a quick example of something that, the principle's the same, the idea is different. Mm-hmm. And, and we're going to continue that at least until, as long as it lasts and does a good job. So that's an idea of a program change still within the strategy of our lodge. So.
Right. And I think you identify something very important there with the idea of being able to shift gears and change something up. And also with this conference of principal officers, right, talking about strategic planning and stuff like that, you're going to be able to have a bunch of different people there sharing a bunch of different stories like that, sharing a bunch of different ideas, and it's going to be a great example for other lodges that may be in similar situations.
Right. And we're going to have a large group of worshipful masters, and just like you, Matt, you and I have very similar timelines as Masons as far as the years in the craft, and also in the way in which we do things. I had my calendar done probably by August of my junior warden year, and I had it roughed in anyway. It wasn't 100%. I went over it with some other brothers, after that, and did a survey and some other stuff to really round out that calendar. But you got to start early and plan. My year's going real smooth right now, and it's due to all the pre-planning. Yes, you got to learn ritual to do degrees, but you got to do the planning too. If you're not up for the job, don't get in the line. My first, right? It's a lot of work.
Oh no,
to lead a lodge.
It is. I agree. And I will echo that sentiment on proper planning, proper planning, creating a very smooth year for the most part. It really,
right.
If you have your plan, then all you have to do is execute it and maybe adapt a little bit as things go on, but you can pretty much stay the course, right? And that takes a huge amount of stress off rather than trying to throw together last-minute events.
Right. Well, and if you look at all the pre-planning I did, and I'm not going to go into all the details of that right now, but if you look at that, then this little baby that I have, the Wisconsin Conference of Principal Officers, I'm planning that during my year as master. That's incredible. I think that's incredible that I have the ability and time and the bandwidth to be able to do that during a year that's supposed to be, and what I was told was absolutely insanity, and it goes by so fast, which is true.
It does.
But, Adam, for our listeners who might not have made it into news and events, I know that some people listen, some people will be like, good episode, I'm done there. Can you just give us a high-level description of what the event is, its date, and how to sign up and all that kind of good stuff, just so we can make sure everyone's aligned on what is going on, what's this event, and what to expect?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the Wisconsin, if I butcher the name, I changed it so many different times.
You can't butcher it. It's you made it.
Principal Officers Conference, and really what it's doing is there's multiple sections. The first section being strategic planning, and then we go into building and management of that kind of thing. And then there's about calendar and event planning section there, and then that's done by myself, and then worshipful brother Matt here is doing a thing about bylaw changes. He's got plenty of experience there. And then to wrap it all up, we have an education piece at the end, which has the underpinnings of planning in it. So, it's an education piece that's not related directly, but there was a lot of planning that went into what this presentation is about. So there's that. You can get a hold of me. I'm an open book. Contact me at the lodge email, which is wautoma148@gmail.com, and that is WAUTOMA148@gmail.com. And I will repeat that one more time. WAUTOMA148@gmail.com.
Perfect.
If you're
and
interested.
What's the date again? It is
September 21st, correct?
Yep. Correct. That's September 21st. The original timeline was, I believe, till 3, but I got it to like 3:45 now. So coffee and carbs right away at 9 to 10. We'll have a lunch in there and a break or two. And like I said, we'll finish with the educational piece. And 3:45 should be like the very maximum we get out of there. And then we'll probably go out for some libations maybe after that.
Sounds like a plan.
Continue our like roundtable discussions, as Masons are very well known of doing. So
well, and I think that's going to be a fun facet of this event too, is the fellowship aspect that's going to be able to be had, especially since like I know Olivia and I are planning on traveling up there probably on Friday and not going home till Sunday. Well, I love that part of the state, and it's like my second home. So we're going to come hang out with you guys for a while, and I'm really excited about this. You and I have been talking about it ever since you brought it up to me like 6+ months ago, I feel. Or not quite 6 months ago, at least like 4 months ago that you brought it up. And I was excited about it then, so I'm happy to see it move from its infancy into fruition. And, I think it's a great idea, and there's not really a much better place in the state to host it than where you guys are, because you can't get much more centrally located than Wautoma. So it's going to be an easy drive for everybody to get to, even if they just wanted to come for the day. And I think everybody will have a great time. And I think if any of the masters and wardens out there don't go, they're really missing out on an opportunity to improve themselves and improve their lodges.
And make new friends.
And make new friends.
Yep.
Well, precisely. It's always nice to have another brother in the same chair, or even a lesser chair or whatever, or a higher chair, to be able to lean on. You make those quick connections because we push all the garbage away to begin with. And this is back to regular Freemasonry again, but, we're basically instantly friends and we can just talk freely. But those conversations after having the presenters present, and then we go out for a couple of beers or a pizza or something afterwards, the real thought process starts then when we start talking, not when you're listening. So when you're listening, you should be taking it all in, and then later on we can talk about, the ideas, or what did you do here in your lodge for this, or you started your strategic plan, great, what did you do to start, or those types of things, that all that food, dinner masonry and windshield masonry and all that stuff, that really brings everything together, and all those ideas get brought up. And as far as I'm concerned, if you want to improve yourself, there's a lot of opportunities out there, whether it's this one or another one. Just go to something to improve yourself and improve your lodge, because things change and you need to have a way to react to that. And if you have a plan, and you may not have the exact answer for a change, but you have a guideline of these are the things that we want the most for our lodge.
Right.
And for that, doing those strategic planning things, and something new comes up, you have guidelines. And that makes it so much easier. The stress is less. Yeah, you may have to come up with a solution, but they follow those guidelines. And it's so important that, to keep a lodge at even keel and sailing in the right direction. I love that metaphor, by the way. You could be sailing in circles for years and years and years, and that's why a lot of lodge buildings have started to crumble, because they didn't have a good plan or a building management scheme or plan. I mean, let's get our fraternity solid. I mean, that's one of my goals, as a master, and whatever future role that I will play. I'm about everybody doing what they need to do to have the tools they need to do things on a regular, smooth thing. It doesn't have to be like a heartbeat, up and down. It's just nice and even keel. So.
And, we say that the fraternity is on the firmest establishment, a lot in our ritual and stuff like that. So it's important that we make sure that our lodges reflect that as well. And with a lodge being a reflection of its membership, members taking the initiative to actually try to learn to be the most effective versions of the leaders they can be for their lodge, and to give their lodge the ability to be successful and to sail in the right direction, and to make sure their buildings are well kept and in good conditions. That's what's going to be passed down to the next generations of Masons, is the success of the officers that came before them. And when the tools the Grand Lodge gives us, a lot of that stuff is you have to make the initiative to go find them, read them, and use them. But that's not the way everyone learns. And so it's nice that there can be a conference where people can go and actually just take some time, set out some time for themselves to say, I'm going to buckle down. I'm going to try to learn some of these skills that are going to be good for the future of my lodge for generations to come, and can be passed down within the lodge. Because you'll find a lot of these things, the lodges that are successful with planning and stuff like that, it's something that was passed down from one person to the next. But if a lodge didn't have that first person, or didn't keep doing that, it can fall off. And then the person who came in 10 years later might be like, I didn't even know this was something we should be doing. You know what I mean? So it's powerful to start building that foundation and going to events like this to try to better yourself in your lodge.
Well, and beyond that, too, you have the facet that it's an instant travel opportunity for everybody, right? And you're not traveling to 100 different lodges to meet all these brothers. You're going to meet them all in a central location. And last time we had you on, Adam, was the very first episode of Matt Travels way back when, and we talked a lot about traveling then, and you and I have had a lot of conversations since then, and we are a lot of times of the same mind. And what you're trying to do on a state level is something that I've tried to do a little bit as a district level, by getting all the worshipful masters together, and now all the worshipful masters and senior wardens together, to start kind of building something like that. And we've had a lot of conversations about unity, and unity in the state, and unity in our districts. And I think this is just another step towards that goal of uniting all the Masons in the state, and not to do things the same way, not to give up the culture of their lodge, but to understand that we all need to be moving in the same direction.
Yeah, we do. And, kudos to you for getting that done. And, it's definitely unity, and just because you're a Mason doesn't mean you're a leader. So embrace your weaknesses and come to the event. And even if you're seasoned at this stuff, you'll have a good time and share your experiences with, other brethren that are asking questions. It's what it's all about. We're here to help each other. And, and having unity just in general helps. Like you call me if you need to lean on me about something, as you have in the past, and I do the same with you. You got to have that, because no one person is in Masonry alone, but we all need to be unified, and we need to be working to make our lodges beautiful, presentable, and available to anybody who's uninitiated. Like I got 4 or 5 uninitiated coming tomorrow night to our stated, which is pretty cool. I feel a real influx of petitions coming. We've been doing some pretty hard and solid work in Wautoma, and I'm very proud of everybody for the things they've done there. So it's awesome.
That's great to hear. I think something else that you kind of started to touch on there was this will also give those senior wardens and those junior wardens that are going to be eventually moving to the east a network of support that they can rely upon in the future when they have questions and stuff like that. They'll find their people that they're comfortable with, or they'll find someone who knows the most about strategic planning and be able to reach out to them, or somebody who's the most familiar with the Wisconsin Masonic Code and reach out to them for advice. And, that's what I've found, and I'm sure you have as well as Worshipful Master, is I have different people that I reach out to for different small problems if I'm looking for advice, because this guy's really good at A, that guy's really good at B, and this other guy's really good at C, So if you have that network of support there, it makes everything a lot easier.
Well, that's exactly it. That's how I got the presenters that I have at this conference lined up, because I go to lodges and I talk to people and I know their talents, and because I've been listening and hearing what they had to say. And like you've done bylaws changes with low 12. I
wrote all the bylaws for the low 12.
And your lodge, Lake 189. So who better to have in place to talk about those changes? Because inevitably, if you're doing a strategic plan, you're going to probably have something to change in your bylaw.
Right.
Most lodge bylaws are probably grossly outdated right now. Ours actually aren't, oddly enough, but they do need some changes that will come out during our strategic planning process. But ours were updated in 2018.
Oh, that's pretty good, actually.
Pretty recent. It was to reflect some dues stuff, but everything else seemed to be pretty okay. Not great, but we'll get that addressed.
Right.
So,
well, and there's bylaws are a sticky thing. There's ways to write them that cause them to be more malleable to future use, and then there's ways to write them, if need be, to make sure that they are not malleable. And, if there's something that your lodge feels very strongly about, that you can keep the same way. So it'll be fun to do that presentation. I'm excited about it.
Yep. And, that's one of those things that I feel like a lot of, we're supposed to all know our bylaws, but you'll find a lot of brethren may never have even read their bylaws. A good reminder to go check them, because the bylaws are really the guardrails you put on your lodge, and so it's important to make sure they do align with the vision your lodge has to support it to be successful, and to support the longevity of those types of plans too, by making it a bylaw, which puts the onus on the brothers to follow their bylaws. And I think those types of conversations are just, no, we don't have any courses to teach us how to think of these types of things. You kind of have to learn on the go, and it's nice to have the opportunity to put all these tools that brothers have available at their lodge to work towards the future of their lodge in their minds, shove it down their brain holes. Whatever you want to say.
Agreed.
Kind of like the mic that's in my face right now.
The mic that's videoed on your face right now over the phone, as we had some interesting technical issues. I blame Andrew.
I'm almost feeling violated if it wasn't for this screen.
All right, Andrew, do you have anything else for Adam?
No, I think that's great. So, a reminder to our viewers, it is going to be September 21st. It's going to start at around 9 a.m., like Adam said, for coffee and carbs. I believe, what was the cost of that, Adam?
$20, yes, I forgot to mention that.
$20 a person for just the food and the lunch and all that good stuff, and it's going to have a variety of speakers. And if you are a principal officer in your lodge, I would strongly encourage you to make the time to sneak over there to Wautoma. It's a beautiful city. centrally located to meet some awesome brethren and to learn about how to be a better leader for your lodge. And I highly recommend it.
Well, and I think with Adam's permission, we might have to have some microphones set up during coffee and carbs in the morning and maybe do some interviews with people before the session gets going for the pod.
Yeah, I'm absolutely game for that. It's always a good thing because it gets people on your podcast that kind of like the little snippets from the GL sessions. I like that. It's, hey, I'm going to grab you, come over here. Somebody may not be willing to stick a mic in their face like I am. Get their opinion and get them talking. Those are the guys you want to listen to, those guys, a few words, because they got something on their mind, and you want to be able to hear it and actually listen enough to hear what they're saying. So that's awesome. I appreciate what you guys are doing here. And I did want to make a quick mention. I have 60 seats, so that wouldn't fit every principal officer line. So get your name in and your money in early. We got about a couple of months here, almost to the day. Well, it is to the day of this recording. Get it in. Make a commitment. I'd love to see you. And we're not out to make any money on this. I was going to do a pin and everything, but that's such a small amount. The price was a little too high. If we got to change this up and get a bigger venue, different date, a different year, that's great. If it grows, great. We can plan out, accordingly. But for now, let's fill up the seats, have some fellowship, learn a bunch of good tools to use, and get some processes moving in the right direction of these lodges, and make your lodge beautiful, make the experience of your members beautiful, and make your community beautiful. That's what we're all about. And we got to do it starting with ourselves and our planning.
Cool. That sounds like a great plug to me.
Sounds like a phenomenal plug to me. Adam, as always, it's been a pleasure to talk to you, and I'm sure we'll talk soon, brother.
Thanks for coming on, Adam.
We will.
All right.
Yep, thanks, guys.
Take care.
Well, it was really good talking to Adam again. I always enjoy my conversations with him. He always has something insightful to say.
Yeah, I knew I was going to do that ship sailing analogy because he had that analogy about not being on an island.
Yeah, lodges being islands, but we have boats. Yeah.
Yep, I figured you'd like the nautical.
That was a great analogy. I can't remember what episode that was, but I think that was like in the early 10s or right around there somewhere that we had Adam on last time. So if you haven't listened to that episode, go back. It's Matt Travels. It's the very first Matt Travels. And yeah, I had a really good conversation with him, and worshipful brother Corey was also on that one while we were at the crawfish boil. That was a good one.
Yeah, it was great talking to him, and I do think this is a really good opportunity. And I'm excited that Wisconsin Freemasonry has brothers who are so inspired by the craft that they're actually working to create and build. We're builders, right?
Yep.
To actually build some things and opportunities to help the craft as a whole. And I know Adam and a lot of brethren have been trying to find ways to stretch out of their islands, you know what I mean? And say, let's connect more as brethren and lobby all these skills and all this wisdom that we have amongst the brethren across the state to benefit one another. And I think it's an awesome thing, and you really shouldn't miss this unless you have a good excuse, because it's a great opportunity for your lodge.
Right. No, I agree. And, I want to echo the statement that there's a lot of building going on in Wisconsin right now, and it's phenomenal to see out of every corner of the state. So it renews my passion for the craft almost daily.
Yep, I would agree as well. But awesome. Let's wrap it up here, and you can always follow us, everyone, on our socials. We got to always plug our socials, which is going to be on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok.
Yep. All 4 of them. And you can always email us at timefellowship@gmail.com.
Timefellowship@gmail.com.
And, if you have any questions or show suggestions or anything else, feel free to please get those out to us. We would love to hear from you, and you can message us on any one of those platforms, and we will see it. So
yeah, let us know what your thoughts are. And, you know, we love hearing from you guys. So if you ever have any ideas, you'd be like, God, I want to hear these guys' take on this. You know, if you have anything that you think me and Matt can fight about, I mean, people have been saying we agree on too much. So, you know, send us spicy stuff. You know, we'll figure it out. So.
Yeah, give us something. We can't guarantee we'll disagree, but
yeah,
we can try.
We probably won't. I'll just pretend.
One of us can play the devil's advocate.
But then we'll agree that we'll have agreed on playing the devil's advocate. So.
Right. All right, everybody, you have a great day, and I think we're going to go into news and events for you.
So what has been going on in Wisconsin? Got a cool news story here from out of Crivets. The Crivet brothers have actually supported a trap shooting team. The team coach in 2024 Crivets High School Invitational Trap Shooting Organization received a check for $200 from the Masonic Light Lodge number 218 in Crivets. The invitational was held on May 11th at Lake Nokobe Sportsman's Club. Brought together 11 different high school teams. This is a immensely popular sport and continues to attract a lot of the youths and teach discipline, preparation, and focus. So it was an awesome event, and the brethren at Crivets had made a wonderful donation. Some great news. All right, we have another story as well. We have another great example of one of the fire suppression tools being used to save some property, and this time it's in Lady Smith. One of the officers out there, State Patrol troopers, Trooper Fricky, was one of the first people to arrive at a fire which was in Lady Smith on April 2nd. The fire was coming out of one of the bedroom windows in the bottom apartment of an apartment complex. The state trooper was able to deploy one of the portable fire suppression tools donated by the Wisconsin Masonic Foundation. Both the trooper and Lady Smith fire chief stated that the FST did what it was supposed to do. It knocked down the flames until the Lady Smith Fire Department could arrive and continue to fight the fire. Fire Chief Gibbs also said that by using the fire suppression tool, it helped make sure the fire kept from spreading further into the building. So it's another awesome example of the use of these fire suppression tools and how they can help in our communities. All right, it's time for some events. Let's talk about July. We're approaching the end of the month here. On July 26th, which is going to be on Friday this week, Prairie View Lodge number 95 is having their 6th annual golf scramble. It's going to start at 9 a.m. It's going to be $85 a person with a shotgun start at Utica Golf Club, which is in Oshkosh. To register, please go to www.prairieviewlodge.org. Now moving into August, on August 3rd, the 4th annual Wisconsin Widow Sons Charity Ride. It's going to be running out there, and the proceeds are going to benefit the Grandmaster's Appeal. More information is forthcoming. Also on August 3rd, we will be having Masons Go to the Fair. This is an event that is sponsored by Lake Lodge 189, or I guess in cooperation with Lake Lodge 189 and the Triple I Jolly Badgers, which are the Pirates of Triple I. We beckon you guys to join us at a Pirate Week themed weekend at the Bristol Ren Fair. You can buy tickets at the Ren Fair's website, or you can get them on a better deal by going to Menards. So that's going to be on August 3rd. We're going to all meet out there and have some fun fellowship and enjoy the Ren Fair. On August 7th through 10th, the Midwest Shrine Association is doing their 2024 summer session. It's going to be at the Zor Shrine in La Crosse. On August 8th, Columbus Lodge number 75 is going to have a comedian, Pete Lee, and he's going to be live. It'll be $20 a pop. It's going to be at the Kestrel Ridge Golf Club. It's going to be in Columbus. For more information, call Bill. On August 15th, North Star Lodge number 187 in Star Prairie is having their annual Ox Cart Days Street Dance. That's going to be from 4:30 to 10 p.m. On August 16th and 17th, Oshkosh Lodge number 27 is having their 175 years of Oshkosh Freemasonry and 100 years of Oshkosh Masonic Center. So kind of a double whammy. They're going to have magic on the menu August 16th. and the 175th and 100th anniversary celebration on August 17th. For more information on this awesome event, go to oshkoshfreemasons.com/celebration. On August 25th, Oregon Lodge number 151 is doing a first responder celebration. It's going to be from 2:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. It's going to be on Spring Street in Oregon. This is a community-based family event celebrating Oregon's fire and EMS district's 130 years of service. On August 29th, Lake Lodge is having our Lux Golf social event. It's going to be $15 a person, but RSVPs are due with our brother Ethan Rosenlund by August 18th. You can pay him via PayPal or reaching out to him for further arrangements. It's going to be in the Lux Golf in Franklin. There's a 30-person cap, and pricing is based on turnout. So if you need his information, you can find that on our social media for Lake Lodge 189. Well, that concludes news and event. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and until next time, I hope you guys have a great day. Take care.